Hey everyone, it's Nicole, and today I'm going to discuss the book that my patrons picked for the month of January. If you want to participate in the choosing of the March Patreon book, you can do that by joining my Patreon page and by supporting my creating endeavors. The book of February was already chosen. It's The Love and Lies of Roxana Ali, and I'm really excited to read it. If you want to read it with me, you can do that, and you can even tweet me or message me on Instagram, whatever is more comfortable for you. I am always happy to read it with everyone else or just someone else. Without further ado, let's jump into my review of In an Absent Dream by Sean McGuire. The first part of this video is going to be spoiler free, so you can watch it even if you have not read the book yet. I'm not going to be surprised because it's fairly new. In an Absent Dream is the fourth book in the Wayward Children series, and it follows a character named Blondie who was introduced in the first book and who had a very fascinating secret. She was aging back. And I was extremely interested in her story, so centering a book around her, in my opinion, was a fantastic choice. In an Absent Dream shows us the world of the goblin market, and all the creatures that live in this world, human and non-human alike, value fairness the most. So this place is literally a market where for every answer that you want to get and for every product that you want to consume, you have to pay a price, and this price is determined by how much you have. I thought all the discussions around fairness were very fascinating. It is surprisingly a very political book, despite being wrapped up into a fairy tale formula. It is a modern fairy tale in its own right, and you can read it without having grander discussions about it, because it's very entertaining and it's well written. But if you want a book that is going to bring up a few questions that you would want to discuss in your reading group, for example, you absolutely can. Catherine had a great development throughout the whole book. She starts out very young, and we see her jumping into the goblin market and back into her own world a few times. But we see her building relationships with other characters depending on the rules of the world that she's in, which is an interesting detail. And I think that the lesson overall makes the book so good. I'm not going to lie, I've had a couple of issues with this story, but not major enough to not enjoy it. Other parts of it that were done well were much more important for me, and I enjoyed them enough to give this book 4 stars. The thing that bothers me with Sean McGuire's writing, and I notice it more and more as I read more of her books, especially in the Wayward Children series, is how much she leaves out of the picture. In this novel, we are repeatedly told about certain grand things that happened that were out of picture, and at a certain moment it becomes aggravating because these big things are setting up plot twists and important points and important beats of the story. So you're supposed to care about things that you're told happened, but you've never actually read them because they are not on paper. I know that she made certain parts of the story because all the books in the series are supposed to be novella length, but I wouldn't mind it being a bigger story. I wish it was, because it feels somehow incomplete. But I still love the volume of this world. There are so many stories that could be told. I envisioned 4 or 5 books, and I'm not going to be tired of them because each world that Sean McGuire is creating is different, and it still ties into the bigger picture, which is a sign of a great world building. I think the world building in this book definitely takes the trophy. The Goblin Market was such a fantastic place. It was both very dark but also extremely logical. I love how she sets up the rules in the Goblin Market. I love how we see the consequences quite early into the book, and I honestly think that the world of the Goblin Market in the Wayward Children universe was one of the best that she created. I enjoyed the underworld and I love the Jill and Jack's world, but I must say that the Goblin Market definitely takes the trophy. What I really enjoyed about the Goblin Market as well, and I think it's a great message, is how when you became indebted, you could always find your way back, and that is a wonderful message. That's basically saying to me that you have to live through the consequences of your actions, and that you have to put in the work and get back, which is an important message, especially in the world of social media, because we see people making mistakes all the time, and sometimes the world is unforgiving because the internet society makes it possible for a person to be exposed to so many mistakes made at their expense that it feels like you cannot handle more. The Goblin Market is fair because it gives these creatures an opportunity to grow past their mistakes, to learn from them and to become better people, to better manage their resources and to better manage their debts. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but for me it is such a clear parallel, especially because the people that suffered consequences because they had not given back their debts became wild and forgot their true essence and stopped trying to get back to who they were, or stop trying to become better, which is something we also see a lot when people are too proud to admit that they made a mistake, or when they're simply too stubborn and they lose their humanity, one tweet at a time. So that's what I saw in this novel, and I can wait for an announcement from Sean McGuire. I really want to know who's going to be the protagonist of the 5th book. I do have my favorites from the 1st book, and I want to know what happened with them. If you're a fan of the series, in the comments down below tell me which character needs their own book, because I'm really interested what other people think. Thank you for sticking with me. That's everything for today. I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye!